I was between 5 to 6 years old. I did not know I was going through FGM. It just happens. No one tells you that you were going because I was small. No one asked for my consent.
A quick heads up. This episode includes discussions of sexual violence, child abuse, and detailed accounts of FGM, female genital mutilation, which some may find distressing. I'm Saharza, a journalist and documentary maker, on a quest to understand the world through the lens of how people do sex. Today, we're covering the two-part story of Fatou Badjie, a UK-based Gambian campaigner against gender-based violence. Fatou is a survivor of female genital mutilation, and in this series, she speaks with extraordinary honesty about experiences that most of us have never heard or even fully understood. In part one, she shared her story of being cut as a child, of growing up in a world where silence, shame, and control shaped her relationship with her own body. If you haven't heard episode 1 yet, I strongly recommend you go back and give it a listen before coming back here later. Now, we're going to pick things up with Fatou where we left off and follow her journey, not just through trauma and survival, but towards healing, sexual awakening, and taking back control. That day ended and you were kept in that room, in that kind of sort of semi-official school where they were teaching you rules around respect and honor. For 3 months, were you not allowed to go home?
No, in the early 90s, in my community, we don't go home.
And you were only 5 or 6?
Yeah.
Did you see your mom that day?
Yeah, she came, she brought food, and all through she would come in and bring food.
Did you ever have a conversation during that time with your mom about what you'd been through?
During that time, no. And until I came to the UK, we never had a frank conversation until I got married and I had started experiencing the impact of FGM.
Can you tell me about that conversation?
It was a difficult conversation because I had FGM done years ago. I didn't connect the impact it has on me. I had a very difficult or painful periods when I was growing up as a teenager. I have missed school because of pain, menstrual pain. And I was told at the time that it's because I haven't given birth yet. I'm still young. Once I give birth, it will stop.
Did you ever resent your mom for putting you through that?
No, I didn't resent, because the way I advocate, I feel like a lot of people who advocate for these things, especially women, our parents, they don't understand these things. I feel my mother did not go to school. She doesn't believe in research. She believes in her culture. Not anymore now. She's a bit more aware. In fact, she's against FGM. She's a survivor herself, and she stops people from, she's called Badjie, so she's the auntie of the community. So when women have issues, they go to her. But she was a pro FGM. And when we had the initial conversation, she snubbed it. She said, this has got nothing to do with FGM. You are a woman. You need to be brave. Go have sex. Go have baby. Childbirth is normal, because I was trying to say that this is how it's impacted me. But I understood she was just ignorant about it until she went through trainings as well in the Gambia. She had done community trainings and they showed her real pictures, with women with scar tissues, women with keloids, women with who are properly disfigured and who struggle in childbirth, for her to understand that actually this is a problem.
She did let you down as a child, whether she meant to or not, whether it came from ignorance or not. She did let you down. She left her 5-6-year-old in the hand of women who mutilated her, traumatized her, left her for 3 months there. Did you ever have a confrontation with her about this?
I had a confrontation with her, not for myself, but when my cousin, who's older than me, was getting married. Again, she went through similar thing. I was in the UK at the time, and she had to be defibrillated on the night that she had to sleep with her husband, because she was also blocked. So I had this conversation, and I said to my mom, this needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. because I said, this has hit home. It hit home for me, for my sister. And then now my cousin, my older cousin, my mom brought her up. So she's like a big sister to me. And I couldn't still imagine the pain that she has gone through. She was this virgin. She slept with her husband in a hospital bed. Once her vagina was ripped, it was cut for her husband to be able to penetrate. I cannot imagine that pain. And I said to her, this needs to stop. Forget about the privacy that they didn't have for their first night. I was lucky in a way. I was in the UK. It was a bit more private. But when you are in the Gambia, for example, all the elders are waiting in the living room at night whilst you are sleeping with your husband for the first time, waiting for you to bring the evidence of your virginity.
What is that evidence?
It's a blood stain on a wrapper. So I said to her, this needs to stop. This completely needs to stop. I don't see any reason, whatever reason you give me, there is no justification to it. There is no benefit for a girl to go through FGM. There is no one can tell me in this world one single benefit, because all the reasons that they've given is counterproductive. It's not true.
And what did she say? How did she counter that? Because at the time she was still pro it.
She was pro it, but she saw how much under her own eyes, because she was the one who took my cousin to the hospital. Under her own eyes, she saw the impact there and then, how harmful it was.
Was that the point when she started changing her view?
She just paused. She said, from now on, I would not advocate for anyone else to be cut. And she stopped. Just like that, she stopped. And that is why I say sometimes it needs that education. And it takes time, because this is something that is embedded, deeply embedded. It wouldn't be a one conversation to end it. I've been talking about FGM on Facebook since 2015. We're in 2025. I still get people challenging me, questioning the authenticity of my story. So it's not going to change overnight, but we're getting there. There are women who are dropping the knife. They're stopping. My mom has stopped. I take my girls to the Gambia for holiday. I've got 2 daughters, never been touched before. She says to me, no one is going to touch your British kids. She knows the impact now, and she would not do it to anyone or even advocate or accept. And now when it's done, they report to her for if it's suspected that it's going to be done, the community members would go and report to her, and she would go and report to the agencies that are working on this.
So I want to talk about the healing. You were cut. What were the next few days like?
Next few days were like pain, a lot of herbs being placed in my vagina that I don't know what they're made of. I know tomato puree was part of it. And it took a long time. When I go to wee, it's painful. I can't wash myself after weeing. And it's stayed like this for many, many days, if not months. Until the 3 months was up. That's when we left the bush.
And you were very young. Was there a time when, after this was done, after the healing process was done, you looked down and you noticed a change?
I never looked down. I looked down when I was an adult. I thought my clitoris was taken away until I came to see a gynecologist here in the UK who said to me I did not have an inner lips. The inner lips were also partially removed. So I never really looked down. When I was an adult, when I have my periods and stuff I do time to time, I did not see anything I did not notice any difference, because I did not know what a normal looked like. I haven't seen a normal vagina before.
Let's now go to your teenage years, a few years later. For many of us, teenage years are the time when we start becoming aware of our sexuality. We start getting that, fluttering feeling when we're around someone we find attractive. How was that period for you, given your clitoris was removed?
Well, when I had the FGM done, I was told that I shouldn't have sex before I get married. Virginity was an important thing in my family and in the community that I grew up from. So I knew that sex wasn't an option for me before marriage. So when I date guys, I tell them the first thing I say to them, if I like you, is we cannot have sex. And if you agree, we would date. Even dating wasn't allowed. I do it in secrecy. Everybody else, like my teenage cousins, would know, and my young siblings would know, but my parents they don't know that I had a boyfriend. And my mom always tells me, if a man's towel touches you, you would get pregnant. And again, that stayed with me. Like, I had boyfriends. I remember when I was older, I'm telling you, I was like, before I just got married, my last boyfriend before I got married, I went to visit him and he came from the shower with a towel wrapped. And I said, you need to put on your clothes. I don't want this to touch me. Imagine, I am educated. I went to college. I was practicing as a reporter. I still have this in my head. It's the power of words and how our minds can be manipulated from a young age, because that's what I hear all the time. If a man's towel touches you, you'll be pregnant. So I don't go into my boyfriend's bedroom. We stay in the living room. So I didn't explore sex when I was young at all. So I date and that's it. No sex.
It's interesting to hear that you still dated, which requires you to fancy people, which is at the core a sexual experience, essentially. And as we've established, as you explained very well, FGM is essentially about controlling a girl's sexuality, that by mutilating her, they are removing her sexual desires, basically. They're killing her sexual desires in a hope to stop her from straying. Do you think that in your case that worked, that your FGM stopped you from wanting to pursue a relationship with men?
No, it didn't. That's why I said it's counterproductive. It doesn't work.
So it didn't suppress your desires?
I have the desire. I just stopped myself. That is myself saying, I don't want to do this. It was a choice. I could have, because I dated, I had boyfriends. I could have slept with them. I had chance to, but I choose not to. Partly because of what my mom said, that virginity was important, but also I wasn't ready to do it. But I know of other tens of girls that I can name that have had sex when they were young as a teenager. My friends who've had FGM done as well, who were survivors, and they went ahead and had sex. But that was a choice. And in my advocacy, that's what I keep saying. It's all down to the individual. They have to decide what they want for themselves. They have to decide how their body should look or feel as well. And for me, it was a choice. I could have stayed and say I wouldn't get a boyfriend. I did. I had desire. I had numerous boyfriends.
But it had nothing to do with it, your FGM. It didn't stop you. You stopped you.
No.
So a few years later, you got married. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I got married with my children's dad. Fell in love. You know, he was here in the UK. Came down to the Gambia. We dated a couple of years because I just finished high school, went to college, was learning to become a journalist, a reporter. Then I met him, spoke to him for 2 years. He came down, and introduction to the family, and my parents were like, he cannot be going in and out. He has to send the colonel, so you have to tie the knots. So as soon as he went back, because I didn't want to sleep with him and get pregnant if I get married, and he goes back to the UK and I stay in the Gambia. So I asked him to go back home, go back to the UK, then we would get married. When we are ready to reunite, then we can start thinking of pregnancy and babies. So that's how I got married. He was in the UK, I was in the Gambia. Then after about 8 months or so, I got the visa to also join him in the UK.
Do you feel comfortable sharing what your first sexual encounter was like?
Yeah. So when I was coming to the UK, I was given this white wrapper or a sheet of cotton by my mum. The belief is that there would be blood stains if you're a virgin. And then I was asked to send that back home to my parents, my mom especially, who would then show it to the community or family members to prove that I was a virgin. Because as I said, it's so important in my community. So I was given this blanket to bring it. So I came to the UK. First night, tried getting intimate, having sex with my husband. It didn't go through. I showed him the wrapper first. Funny story. He said to me, what is this for? And I explained the story behind it. And he's like, dump this away. You're not using this. Like, I'm not exposing our privacy outside of this room. So I didn't end up tying up that wrapper. But then the idea is now the bed sheet is what I would have sent back home. I never sent it because he wouldn't allow me to do that. And remember, I was only 21 years old when I got married. I was still young, a young adult. I never know what sex was. I never watched pornography or even discussed what I should be expecting or even talk to my mother or parents about what it is. I never.
With no one, not even your friends?
With my friends, we were excited. So we would talk about, I would do this, I would do that. But I did not know what to expect. I did not know what the real sex is. I don't know what penetration was about. I got excited about, I'll wear these sexy nighties and all of those things, but not the real thing. So when I came in the night, I thought I would just go to sleep. I didn't. I got intimate with my husband and he couldn't penetrate. He tried everything. He couldn't penetrate. It was impossible to have that penetration. And it was so painful as well. I mean, that night passed. The second night, this is night 2, second day. In the morning, my parents were calling, my mom and my aunties, everybody was calling me. The mother-in-law was calling to find out the results. So I need to feedback, on what had happened.
That's so embarrassing. On top of everything else.
Yeah, it is. It is very embarrassing. And the second night came, nothing. There was no penetration. We said to them, we tried it. It's not working. It's not going through. And I was told, you have to be brave. It's painful, but you still have to, just get on with it. You're a woman. That's what we all went through. We tried again. Nothing. It wasn't going through. It was just pain. It's like something was blocking it from going in. And the third night I still remember this vividly. I came on a Tuesday. We tried Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. Friday night. That's when we were able to be successful. And that is because my neighbor who was next door, who's also Gambian, also a young couple, said to me, you need to try something called KY jelly. You need to try a lubricant. Maybe that would help. So that's what I tried. They bought it for me, gave it to me. I tried it. But even with the first time we had that penetration, he couldn't move around. I wouldn't let him even move around because it was so painful. Apart from childbirth, for me, the first night encounter was the most painful. And I remember me going to the doctors at the time. This was 2006. FGM, again, wasn't well spoken about in this country that much. The doctors don't even know what they're looking for. Well, some of them don't know. So I went to the doctors. I said to them, I couldn't sleep with my husband. They looked at me. They couldn't see anything. They didn't even talk to me about FGM. They said, well, we don't know what would be blocking it, but you look normal. Imagine.
They checked you up or just based on your face?
No, they checked me up. I had to take my pants off and they checked me up and they couldn't tell that I had FGM done because it wasn't stitched. So I still have an opening, but it wasn't just going through. It was only later on that my mom said to me, my grandma said to me, you might have had type 3 FGM. In those days, the type 3 for me, you don't stitch. They put some sort of some sort of herbs within you. When you're healing, you heal with that. I don't know the technicality of it, but that's it. It causes a sort of a blockage. And even today with my cousin that I was telling you about, the one who had the sleep with her husband the first time in the hospital, had the same thing. So in Gambia, in the first night, you're taking to the kota, we call them the kota, the ngansing bar, to be able to unblock you, for you then to be taken to your husband to sleep with her. Majority of girls who have had FGM done, type 3, have gone through that. So it was only the third night that we were successful with penetration, but no enjoyment at all. I didn't enjoy anything. He wasn't moving or anything. It was just, okay, we found a way through. We're in, let's stay in there and then out again. That was my experience.
How long did that go on for? I mean, was it always unbearable, or did it get better over time?
It got better over time, but for the first few months, sex wasn't enjoyable for me. I did not enjoy any pleasure at all. Because I didn't know what it was. I took it upon myself to go and learn about sex in itself. How is it done? How do you squeeze? How do you how do you just feel it and because I was also so nervous as well, and nothing has gone through that area after the FGM. It just brought memories to me. I didn't like because I had scar tissues as well there. I had the scarring. Because the clitoris is removed, I have that scarring, and I don't like the scarring to be touched in certain ways. So it wasn't a good experience for me. For many months, it was just my husband enjoying and not me. And we had to have this conversation around it, like, because I was excited about orgasm, because I see when I sleep with him, how he reacts when he's enjoying himself, and I don't have that. And I'm like, I need to feel what you, like, similarly to what you feel. I need to understand what goes on. So that's when I started doing, me being a journalist, just researching stuff up and learning about my own body, touching myself, and asking him to touch me in certain ways until we found a good space. And now I kind of talk to women about sex, those who have gone through FGM, those who experience vaginal dryness, for example, how to touch your own self and not to be ashamed of your own body, to own your body, because it's possible to enjoy sex after FGM. It's possible.
It's interesting you say that, because until very, very recently, I assumed that FGM completely takes away a woman's ability to be able to feel sexual pleasure, that women who've been through FGM cannot have orgasms. But, from what you're saying, that's not always true. Tell me, when was it that you had your first orgasm?
It was until after I have my first child. So this was around 2 years after marriage that I had my first. And that also likely depends on me trying it myself on my body, and asking my husband to touch me in different ways. But all through that 2 years, I still feel, because when you're with the right person, you have those connections, you're still a human. Forget about the FGM. If we remove the FGM, you're still a human. You've got feelings. The clitoris that is taken away has got over 8,000 nerve endings. It's still sensitive. Even if you have a scar tissue, it's still sensitive. It's inside you. So I learned all of that through research and trying to figure out what actually arose me when I'm with my husband. And once I learned it, there's no going back. I never stopped. It's amazing. It's achievable. It's really achievable. And I think every woman deserves it. Because we don't talk about it. When I talk to my friends about it, they laugh and say, you are spoiled. Like, they see me as promiscuous, but I'm not. We shouldn't be ashamed of enjoying sex. We shouldn't be ashamed of it. Because the clitoris is taken away. doesn't mean you cannot still enjoy. And as a woman, when I have sex now, I feel like I'm in control. That is the space where I am owning that space to enjoy myself. Because when you are caught, sometimes it's hard for penetration to give you, and it's real, it's hard for penetration to give you orgasm or even any sort of enjoyment at all. You can have hours or minutes, whatever time is good for the person, without you feeling anything. But when you are on top of your partner, you are in control. You can do what you want, what your body asks you to do. You do that and you feel it. Then that's been my strategy since, I want to be in control. I want to guide you and tell you this is how you touch me to get to where you are. And a lot of women are struggling. I speak to a lot of women in the work that we do in Birmingham, for example. Women are telling me they struggle with vaginal dryness. They've never experienced orgasm. And even if for women who have not had FGM done, there are women who also don't have orgasm. It's normal. I think it all depends on who you were with, you understanding your body and just loosening up and letting go and just know that you have the right to enjoy. I'm not ashamed to tell anybody that I am caught, but I do enjoy sex. But that is not, it wouldn't have happened if I didn't go and do my research and loosen up and be ready to enjoy it and understand that this is actually something I have right over. Nobody should stop me from enjoying it.
So you're now even able to have clitoral orgasms?
Absolutely. In internal penetration and outside, all of it I do, because that is how much I know my body.
I can see you light up. I can see how much this means to you, and the tone, the energy just completely changed.
It's sex.
What impact has regaining this bodily and sexual autonomy had on your life outside of the bedroom?
Confidence. It just boosted my confidence, because like I said to you, I've always felt that I'm not whole, like there's something missing in me. And until I was able to fully enjoy sex, I wasn't that confident. I'm a very attractive woman. Like, I have all the features that makes me feel attractive. But then that part of me inside is an internal thing. It's got to do with self-esteem. It still lingers around. I mean, I divorced with my husband and I had dated a guy. And when we just in the beginning, I said to him that I am caught. I have FGM done. Is that going to be a problem? I'm very open about it. I said to him, it doesn't impact my sexual life. I can still enjoy sex, but it is not going to be a normal vagina that you would see, and he accepted it. And now we're married, and it's even better with him. Am I allowed to say that? No.
Of course. He's going to love it.
But, the communication that we have, that understanding, him asking me, is this good for you? It all matters, and for him to take it on himself. And this is now for guys, if they're listening to this, to take it upon themselves, to check in and make sure that the women who have gone FGM have different needs. Their bodies require more time to stimulate. Until now, it's the same. It takes time to get me stimulated. But once I'm there, I'm fully in.
Are there any particular techniques or things you do, perhaps tips that you could share to others who've been through what you have that helps you get there?
Yeah, the main thing for me is been touching myself all over, from head to toe, just slowly touching myself. And because your body do respond when you're in the right space and your mind is free, your body does respond to you. And everyone is different. But for me, the touching part, because I didn't get very sexual when I was young, in my teenage days. I think the most I did was kissing. That's it, So when I started exploring touching myself, that helped. And then communicating with my partner. I think that's the major thing. I was very open about it and saying, for all these years, I never orgasm. I have faked it before because I watch things and faked stuff. Most of us do. But I was very open about it to my partner and say to him, if you put too much pressure, because when you have FGM done and you have the clitoris removed, you have a scarring there. And that scarring, if you press it hard, sometimes it hurts. And not everybody knows that. Your partner might not know that. So you have to communicate that, whether you want pressure or you want gentle touch. And for me, both, it depends. You start with gentle and then you increase the pressure. Yeah. And that works for me. I mean, everybody is different.
And I remember when we first met at the conference, you were telling me, coconut oil plays a big part, or, touching all of the areas with the nerve endings really helps, or tensing in a certain way. What sort of other practical tips like that do you have?
I mean, I use the lubricants, because survivors also struggle with vaginal dryness even before menopause. So having if you don't use coconut oil because it's oily, not everybody would like that. But water-based especially are safe. Water-based lubricants. I use the Yes lubricant now, which is really good, feels natural as well. I use that. And also another practical tip is to be on top of your partner. Like when you're on top, you are in control. You put the pressure that you want or loosen up how you want it. And communicate in the bedroom. Just communicate in the bedroom, because a lot of people, especially from communities that practice FGM, there's taboo around talking about sex and sexuality. And we are trained to believe that we're there to please our husbands or our partners. So forgetting about ourselves. Let's not forget about ourselves as women and remember that we deserve that as well. So in the bedroom, I become a bit selfish and focus on myself. And then when I'm done, then you can, my partner can also enjoy, but we don't finish the show without me having enjoyed myself. And I'm so pleased at the place that I'm in, because it helped me to bond a bit more. It gives me this confidence in myself. Like in my community, if you are caught, you are stigmatized as well. If you're not caught, you're stigmatized because you're called dirty. But when you cut as well, the uncut women would term you as unsexy, or that your husband would go out and cheat because you don't enjoy sex. And I proudly say, I do. It's possible,
Fatou, it's honestly, I'm so pleased for you. It's so great hearing you say that. It's empowering, I think, for everyone to hear about your experience. And thank you so much for sharing that with me. We've spoken about how harmful FGM is, or the trauma that you've been through, that you're still living and struggling with. But it's so great to hear that you've actually learned how to have pleasure, how you've regained your sexual autonomy. But I wonder, how do you balance talking about your experiences with pleasure and teaching that to other women while also fighting against FGM? Because isn't there a danger that people can say, look, we do FGM, we control our women, but once they actually have sex, they can find ways to have good sex? How do you...
I know what you mean.
Advocate for pleasure after FGM, sexual pleasure after FGM, and fighting against FGM at the same time?
That's an interesting question. In my advocacy, I talk about the pleasures that I have, because not everybody, but a lot of people think you don't enjoy sex at all. For me to be able to say I do doesn't mean that the practice can be done. There was no need for the practice in the first place. I did not need to go through 3 nights of trying to get my first intimacy. My first intimacy was traumatic. I don't have good memories of it, and I did not need to go through that. And I against FGM, not because of the pleasures that it denies, or it can potentially deny a woman. I fight against it because it's child abuse. It's to control. It's the concept behind it. The reasons that it's done is what I am against. You cannot tell me how my body should look or how I should feel about my own body. that is why I advocate against it. And I know that every woman's story is different. There are women who until today don't enjoy what I enjoy. And that is because of FGM. And they may stay like that for the rest of their lives without enjoying, because perhaps they don't have that experience that I experienced, because we all have different types of FGM that's done to us. There might be, my one might not be as extensive as another one, or someone else might not be as confident as I am to talk about their body, to chat to their partners about it. So it impacts everyone differently. I have a bad experience of childbirth. I had episiotomy. My vagina was cut 3 times on all my 3 child delivery that I had. In fact, when I was inspected by the gynecologist for my first child, I was told that there was no way the baby could come out because I was too narrow, and that I was going to be cut again for the baby to come out. And that has been my story for the 3 deliveries. And it stopped me from being pregnant the 3rd time. When I had my 2 girls, I left the space of 8 years before I conceived again. And that was a conscious choice that I made, because I didn't want to go through the trauma of giving birth. Even the language that was used in my first delivery for the gynecologist or the midwife to say to me, "Oh, you were cut, you'll be cut again," that stayed with me. And I'm like, I don't want to be cut again. I've already re-traumatized when I had my first sexual encounter. And again, I'm told I'll be cut again, So it has been horrific. And I said with my 3rd one, I said, I'm not having any more babies. In fact, I didn't want to have another child after my 2nd, until I had to go to therapy. I went to get support, did counseling, because I was having these flashbacks. And when I got pregnant as well, I was dreaming about giving birth and being cut over there over and over again. But yeah, I ended up getting the support that I needed, but it's not been easy. Nothing good comes with FGM. We try to be as normal as we can. For me, with the sexual pleasure thing, I take it upon myself. And I said, I'm not, because I want to prove a point. I want to prove them that what you're trying to deny me, I actually got that. I'm there now. I'm enjoying it. What can you do about it?
Fatou Badjie, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for joining us on Doing Sex.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to chat to you, Sahar. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us today. If you like the program, please rate and review the podcast wherever you get your shows. And don't forget to share it with someone who might want to or need to hear it. Lastly, if you or someone you know has been affected by any of the issues we've talked about today, please remember support is available. For now, we've put a few helpful resources we found in our episode description. This has been Doing Sex, a Vespucci production produced by Hattie Moyer and presented by me, Sahar Zand.